hey guys, welcome to this edition of Lunch with Alumni. Super excited to have Josh Gibert, class of 2010, joining us today. Josh is currently located in California, so he is on California time. So thanks so much for doing this a little bit earlier for us, Josh, but it's great to have you on. Josh is an actor and a writer in LA, and we're just going to learn all about him, his time at Country Day, his time at U of M, and just basically what he's been up to since. So thanks for joining us, Josh.
Oh yeah, thank you. I'm excited to do this.
Yeah, awesome. Okay, so let's kind of take it back where it all started. So let's go back to upper school, Josh. Kind of bring us into your world a little bit. So what activities were you involved in? Clubs? I know you're obviously heavily involved in film now, but were you doing film things at DCD at the time? Were you part of the performing arts community? Kind of just tell us a little bit about you and the upper school.
In the upper school, I definitely was doing a little bit of acting. I remember I took Mr. Nahan's acting classes, and those were always fun.
I took that too.
Yeah, it's super fun.
So fun.
I think I fell in love with like the design of film at Country Day. There's like, I don't know if there's still a class there, but it was called Film and Lit Techniques. It was taught by, Mr. Sadler, and so that was really when I started to like think about like the philosophy behind the choices that are made in film, whether it's visually or whether it's certain character choices or story choices. I just was starting to analyze it a little bit more, and out of that came a desire to, write, direct, and do a lot of other things.
Okay. Was there like? Sorry. Go ahead. I was going to ask.
I mean, it's funny because my journey with sports was interesting. Like I did bowling for a little bit.
Okay.
And then I probably shouldn't say this, but then they let me they let me like do martial arts instead.
Cool. It's an outside of school sport. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, at the time it was very controversial.
It was. Wow, interesting. Okay.
Yeah, but I got the chance to do martial arts.
Very cool. Do you still do that today?
No, I wish. I'm trying to find a place to get back into it, but yeah, no, it's very much a part of me.
Very cool. Okay. Was there like a moment that you had in your class with Mr. Sadler that sort of galvanized your interest, or was it kind of just the bigger picture?
It's a really good question. I can't think of a moment where I can't really think of a specific moment in that regard, but I can think of specific projects that kind of shaped my voice. Like he would tie a lot of texts together through themes. So he would have you read the Communist Manifesto and then connect that to Rocky. And that's not an obvious connection.
Wow. Okay.
Doing that, like my dad's a pastor, or my dad, he passed away, but he was a pastor, and that's something he would do, is he would connect texts together with a theme. And so doing that exercise in that class kind of encouraged me to continue to do that. And that's something that I'm kind of known for out here, whether it comes to screenwriting or stand-up, whatever. So
that's so cool. Okay, love that. All right, so you decide that you're going to go to Michigan, and you study film, and I believe the major is called Screen Arts and Culture. So tell us a little bit about that experience. Did you know you wanted to study this when you went to Michigan? Was it just like the regular application to go to U of M, or did you have to include a portfolio or anything like that?
At the time, I actually applied 5 times to get into U of M. That's a fun fact for me. So I went to U of M Dearborn for a little bit, and I was dabbling in the film, department, but I was like going more in the social psych direction. But I kept trying to get into Ann Arbor, and so I finally got in.
I love that. Okay.
I did the film major, and the way the major, I believe it's still constructed now, is it's half film theory, and then it's half production. And there's a real emphasis on theory, which is very similar to Mr. Sadler's class. Like it's literally was like stepping from the Country Day class into a college version of that class.
Okay, so you were prepared and like ready to kind of think about film in this way?
Yeah. So I think that's pretty pivotal when it comes to kind of knowing your voice and just making cool things that you believe in. Yeah, I forgot the other half of your question.
I was just curious if when you applied, if like your application was any different or needed to like showcase your work because you were applying to the specific major.
No, the performing arts school is like that, but it's not like that.
Got it. Because that's an LS&A major.
Right.
Got it. Okay, that makes sense. Okay, so when you were on campus, did your DCDS network play a role in your time at U of M at all? Or was it more like on the side? Did you like rely on people that you knew from DCD at all?
I didn't. The school is really big. I did run into a few Country Day students, but the school is super big. So I feel like unless you get room, like if you share a room with someone, like you may see your classmates.
Yeah, that's a good point. And I feel too, like it's a good experience, especially, you make the point Michigan is huge. It's a great experience coming from Country A to basically just decide that you're going to get out of your comfort zone and meet a bunch of new people. So I think that that's like a great way to go about your college experience as well.
Yeah, you form connections with people based on other shared interests, not just
yeah. Exactly. Okay. So after you graduated from Michigan, you've done like so many awesome things. So I don't want to ask you step by step. I would love for you to kind of walk us through your career since graduating from Michigan. So you've done acting, you've done writing, you've won awards for your writing. I mean, your work has been selected. So walk us through some of your projects and then share with us, what some of your favorite things have been to work on.
Oh man, I wasn't prepared to do this. Let me recalibrate. Right after, I graduated in 2015 from U of M, and then that fall, I was selected by the Sundance Institute, their Diverse Voices screenwriting program. I think I beat out, I hope I'm not exaggerating, I think 500.
That's unbelievable. 500. Yeah, so cool.
Yeah, so that was cool. And to give you an idea, they kind of have like a little camp, and they they provide meals and everything, and then they like really work on you like selling yourself in terms of your bio and what makes you different. And then they also do a ton of writing exercises. And I think one of the highlights for me is like I'm a big fan of Quentin Tarantino, and the instructor is the same person who taught who taught Quentin Tarantino, Ryan Coogler,
wow,
a few other people. So
that's amazing.
Yeah, so that was super cool. After that, I began working on a dramedy pilot script that I want to produce and act in myself, set in Detroit. So I raised some money and I shot a sizzle reel for it. And then maybe a year and a half, I moved to LA. The script started getting traction. And so I started meeting with people like Julius Tenen, who's Viola Davis's husband. I met at Rashida Jones's company. I met at Lena Waithe's company. But I think the takeaway was like, I really tried to like really absorb everything I could at Country Day, and then absorb everything I could at U of M. I just kind of had a loose business plan of like, okay, I'm going to have something to show. And then I'll move to LA. And when I move to LA, I'll be able to kind of.
That's really cool. So just like a question on that, because I feel like for students who watch this back or alums, they're going to be like, wow, that's so cool. Like, how did you get those meetings? Like, how did you do that? Was that something that was kind of facilitated through that Sundance connection that you had? Or were you like, not cold calling, but were you like making the connections to these companies to like get your work seen?
I was doing everything I possibly could.
Okay. So tell us like a little bit about that.
I'll tell you a horror story from me and one of my friends. Like one of my friends is very charming. And so like we found a management company, and he like charmed his way in and was like, hey, I have a meeting here. And they were like, okay. And he just took a meeting, and just because he was charming, like they didn't have him on the docket, they didn't have him on the list. He just like went to the door and he was like, hey, I'm an actor and a writer, and me and my buddy have this script, and we have a meeting here. And so he just kind of like bowed his way in.
Wow. Okay.
But I think some of the most helpful advice I can give people is like your country day connections.
Yeah.
And then your if you go to whatever college you go to, if you go to U of M, those connections are pretty vital, because I went to a U of M alumni party for film, ran into somebody who I think went to Cranbrook, and they just were familiar with Country Day, and they were able to give me a day job at a school to work at while I was working on my screenplays.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, there's like people from Franklin and West Bloomfield sprinkled all around here. So if you say like, hey, you say where you're from or where you went to school, normally somebody will either go, I know someone from there, or I'm from there, and they'll help you out.
I love that. That's great. That's such good advice too. Like, it doesn't even have to be like the exact school, but the area is like, people know it, like if you're from around here. And then I also love, because I know you briefly from like a few things now, but I love that you went to this party, this U of M party in LA. And then I also met you through when you came to the head of school tour for our LA region. So I think that's awesome. Like, you obviously take advantage of like important events that could potentially, help you meet someone. So talk to us about that. Is that something that you've always done?
Sort of. I mean, part of it is just second nature to me because of my background in the church to go to different events. But, I mean, the best thing I can tell people is like, if you're an artist or whatever doing writer, director, actor, whatever, you need to know people, and people have to know who you are. So even if you're just in an elevator introducing yourself to somebody, it sounds crazy, but the first time I pitched anywhere, my buddy was selling a car to a guy, and he just happened to share it. He was like, hey, me and my buddy wrote this screenplay, and our goal is to sell it. And the man's wife was like, you need to tell him what you do. And the man he was like the head of a production company. I flew to LA, and that was the first time we pitched, because he was like, okay, I'm gonna get these guys.
Wow.
So, the more you can kind of like evangelize your cause, like, you'll be surprised you have to be ready. You have to have things done. The more you evangelize your cause, you'll be shocked at how quickly doors can open for you.
Yeah, that's so cool. So I know I didn't include this in one of the questions I sent over, but can you tell us a little bit about like your day to day, like a day in the life of you now? Like, how are you kind of like continuing to get projects, like things like that? Like how do you go about like your work?
Yeah, so there's a few everybody has like a slightly different journey, but in general, I feel like the industry is divided into two camps. There's like people who get staffed or are hired to rewrite feature movies. So if you get staffed, it means you're writing a TV show. So 8 hours a day, you're in a room with people writing. And so if you get a rewrite, you're kind of on your own schedule, but similar idea, you're at home rewriting stuff. And then there's people that like make their own things and then pitch them to sell. So that's kind of like the camp that I'm in. So and an average day for me, right now it's the pandemic, but in general, I'd be teaching at this private school or tutoring private school kids, get home, go out, do some stand-up at night, and then start going back to work on the screenplay. And there's a producer at NBC that I work with. So I will write, send him a draft. He'll read it and give me notes, or sometimes I'll call him and be like, hey, I'm having problems with this scene. What do you think? And we'll go back and forth that way. So
that's really cool. That's cool. So is he like your mentor, the person at NBC, or is that someone that you work with?
That is the thing about Hollywood that no one wants to tell you, is that like mentors kind of don't want to be mentors. They want to be your friends. So like the high school version of me was like, yeah, I'm looking for a mentor. And like the kind of attitude that they want is like, hey, I'm willing to work, but like I have something to say and let's collaborate. Like respectfully, but that's kind of the energy that because they don't want to feel old. So
that's so smart though, and I like that.
Yeah,
that's good advice. Okay, so very cool. So just like from speaking with you and kind of just what I know about you, you have a very positive attitude. How do you maintain kind of your attitude and like how you like approach your work? Like you are in the most competitive film environment in the world. So how do you stay positive? Just like when it can probably, I'm sure you have like challenges just like everyone does, but you happen to be in this like very heightened competitive environment in terms of your occupation.
I saw somewhere, and I think this is the simplest way to say it. I saw somewhere where they were like, your success is dependent upon your talent, your attitude, and the people you're around.
Mm-hmm.
And the biggest quality is your attitude. So what I try to do is I try to stay inspired. So sometimes I'll read an autobiography.
Mm-hmm.
That's one way I do it. But I really just try to surround myself with people that I enjoy being around and that make me laugh. It seems pretty simple, but like it's harder to do in LA when everybody's busy. But that's really how I do it.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So what advice, and you've given a lot of great advice, but what advice would you give to our Country Day film students who are looking to have a career in film or acting? How would you recommend they approach their mindset, especially our seniors who are graduating and about to go off to various different film programs or acting programs, or maybe even students who are not in one of those programs, but are really hoping to make this a career?
That's a great question. I'm trying to simplify it.
Yeah.
I mean, I think the first step is definitely learn the basics, but take risk. Wherever you go to school, you're going to be learning a lot of basics, and I think you should definitely absorb those, but definitely take risk and continue to push boundaries, because that's what will set you apart out here. Because there's so many people who've also gone to school, who the same things. So the more you can take risks, the faster things can go. And then, I mean, for lack of a better phrase, like collaborate with each other. Like if you're an actor, at Country Day and you know someone in the film department, like you guys should be making things regularly, because again, that's how things move fast out here. Is that there's an actor is like, hey, I need footage for my reel, and somebody's a director is like, I need footage for my reel. Okay, let's write a scene and solve this problem. And if you can do that, then I think you're on the right path.
I love it. Well, Josh, thank you so much. This was so fun. I learned a ton. I can't wait to share with our students. If anyone has any questions or needs advice, or they are out in LA and want to chat, is it okay for them to reach out to you?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. And what's the best way for them to contact you?
It's a good question. Through you?
Okay. Through me is fine. Do you have like an Instagram handle? Do you have a social media presence?
Oh, yeah. On Instagram, it's at Josh Gibert. That's probably maybe the quickest way that I see it. Or you'll email me.
Great. Okay, we got it. Thank you so much. We really appreciate it. We hope to see you soon in person.
Awesome.
Thank you.